Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Going into the year, people are like, Bombers are old now. They're all 30-plus. They're an old team. Did you guys hear that noise, and did it motivate you at all? Or is there something else that motivates Willie Jefferson?
You know, the hate is always going to be a motivation for anybody that wants to move forward or succeed in any occupation or any endeavor or whatever it may be. You always want somebody to talk down on you so you can prove them wrong and things like that. But you always gonna have that. But the only thing that motivates me is just being great in my family. You know, trying to show my wife, my daughters, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, friends, you know what I'm saying, my city, my state, you know, anybody like the young kids from my city, from my state, you know, from anywhere that grew up like I grew up, you know, that wants to be, you know, a football player or a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or anything you want to be. Like, you just gotta wake up and want to be great and not settle for less, not settle for mediocrity, and you know, be that. You know, I love my family. I love my city. I love my state. I love the CFL. I love my coaches. I love my teammates. These are the things that motivate me every day. As long as I can have those people behind me, I can wake up and I know I can be great and they're going to love me.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
It's very clear to me. What I say last hour, Darren, I see things before everybody else, and everybody calls me crazy, and then what I say comes to fruition, and nobody comes back and apologizes and goes, yeah, you were right.
How about that?
Like, I mean, nobody. But I'm used to it. I don't get upset about it anymore.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
You know, I was reading a thing on Henry Ford this morning. He said the same thing. People thought he was crazy, you know, and he ended up inventing the car. So, if you want to call me Henry Ford, I'm okay with it. Welcome to a brand new week. Episode number 1237 of your favorite daytime sports talk show is on the air. I'm in Florida, as you can see. They play hockey here. There's a game here tonight. Stanley Cup Playoffs Round 2 opens for the Sunshine State. Moose is in Toronto. Can we bring in the Moose, please? Hey, Moose, what's going? Got a funeral, a wedding, or a job interview today? Which of the three? Or all three?
You know, nothing today. Just, you know, put on my best for you, man, and the viewers. Just wanted to
appreciate it.
You know, it's a good day to look professional and be on my game. Lots going on today. Big day.
Oh, yeah, let's go. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please? Is it Bryce, Director Bryce today? We still don't have Director Jordan, but I believe he is A, alive, and B, still employed here at the RP Show and IKS Media. I think so. Coming up, Joe Madden from Joe Madden Sports in Hour 1 from Sports Grid TV, the very popular sports betting expert, and Larry Abney, the head coach of the CEBL's Saskatchewan Rattlers as they open their season May 22nd against Winnipeg. But speaking of Winnipeg, listen, we did a poll, we did a morning meeting, and all of that is old news now because of the breaking news coming out of Winnipeg today. Breaking news is what we love about daytime sports. Breaking news that nobody else has. Winnipeg Jets head coach Rick Bowness has announced his retirement from coaching after 38 seasons in the National Hockey League. The Moncton, New Brunswick product led the Jets to a 57-9 record during his 2 seasons at the helm, leading the team to back-to-back appearances in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Under the 69-year-old's watch this season, Winnipeg finished second in the Central and the Western Conference while matching a franchise record with 52 wins, but bowed out to Colorado, as you know, in round 1. Rick Bowness named a finalist for the Jack Adams Award, recognizing the top coach in the NHL. And just to look at his collective body of work, He served as coach for 8 different franchises and was behind the bench for 17 playoff appearances, including trips to the Stanley Cup Finals with the Vancouver Canucks in 2011, Tampa Bay Lightning in 2015, and as a head coach of the Dallas Stars in 2020. Rick Bowness retiring. I'll say it, and people are going to be mad, and I don't care. Somebody's got to say it. Did he jump or was he pushed? And my guess is this. I say this very empathetically. Because when they lost out on Tuesday night to Colorado last week, Darren, I read his quote where he said, we're going to need to figure out over the summer basically where the effort was. And I'm like, well, that sounds like a guy that plans to be there next season, doesn't it, if he talks about the summer? But what I also think is he's had a week almost to think about it, and at 69, with health issues of his wife, maybe himself. But to be honest, I would have never said he's 69. He looks, I'd say 60. I think he might have just said, you know what am I doing? So that's what I will say. Rick Bowness, we think the world of him. He's retiring. That's my initial thinking is, did he jump or get pushed or somewhere in the middle and just thought about it in the week after the game and said, you know what, I think I'm good. You?
I'm with you. When you look at Rick Bowness, looks like he's in his late 50s, maybe 60, not pushing 70. And you put it into perspective like that. And remember, he took time away from the team this year.
Yeah,
at least
twice.
A couple of weeks. Yeah, twice. To be with his wife and family stuff. And at some point, you realize, look at I need to be there more than I need to be here. I need to be with family more than I need to be with the hockey team. And doesn't need the job or need the money. I think a little bit of that. But again, we're just speculating until Rick Bowness actually speaks on this. The other side of it, you talk about we need to look at this. I think if the Jets want it and he wants it, there's probably a place for Rick Bowness to be an advisor, to continue to work with the team, maybe potentially to find a successor, if that's even a thing. But I think it ends on good terms, even though in Winnipeg, it probably feels like, oh, here's another blow. We lost out in the playoffs. And now we're losing our, coach of the year nominated head coach. Now we got more problems to fill.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think it's more the former than the latter. We follow the Jets incredibly closely. But here's the interesting thing about that. When you say here's another coach, Paul Maurice, same thing. The details of him stepping down on December 16th, 2 Decembers ago, 3 Decembers ago, still aren't known. Nobody's reported it. He's not talking about it here publicly or privately. He's moved on by the Panthers. And incidentally, here's another spring where Paul Maurice is going longer than Winnipeg is after he left the Jets. This just smacks a lot to me of this was Rick Bowness's decision. Who knows unless you're in his shoes, but that is my guess. And I would think Scott Arniel is the next guy. But Kevin Cheveldayoff may also say what the GMs all say, we will have a thorough review, blah, 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 blah. And maybe it won't be Scott Arniel. I don't know. Jets a talented team. Again, they fell short of their expectations, so it's for them to figure out where they're going. But a lot of times, these types of things now don't ever get reported, and maybe we're not supposed to. Maybe it doesn't matter, right? So can you hit the horn again, please, Bryce? Because that was the breaking news. Yeah, they're gone. There you are. Yes. He's looking for it. That was breaking news A. Breaking news B was that Nathan Rourke's been waived by the New England Patriots in the NFL, and we'll get to that. But we're not there yet. Saturday night, the Toronto Maple Leafs fell short in Game 7 once again, and once more to the Boston Bruins. David Pastrnak scored 154 into overtime to push the Bruins to a 2-1 victory and into round 2 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Boston avoided becoming the first team in NHL history to blow back-to-back 3-1 leads in a series after they lost out to Florida doing the same last year. Now they got Florida again, and Game 1 of that series is here in Sunrise tonight. As for the Leafs, they've lost 6 straight Game 7s, including 4 in a row to the Boston Bruins. So I've just been sitting back. Went on record as saying I was pulling for the Leafs in this series. I picked them to win. And again, they let us all down. 2, following the pundits and the fans and what they all think should happen. So that was where our poll question came from today. What should the Leafs do now? Everybody seems to have an opinion, just like belly buttons. But here are your options. Fire everybody. Fire Brendan Shanahan. Fire head coach Sheldon Keefe, or fire nobody. And if I was running it and I had a vote, I would say fire nobody. Nobody likes to fire anybody, I don't think, Darren. So I would say vote. But leading the way is fire everybody. So what are you voting?
I'm voting that it's probably the end of the line for Sheldon Keefe. You know, I've had more patience with him than I thought I would. I just don't think he's the right guy to lead this group. I think you need somebody with a little more confidence, a little more of a leader. Don't necessarily need a hard coach, but you need somebody that's just more of a take charge and stand up kind of guy. And I think Sheldon Keefe is a little bit timid, and his press conference after the Game 7 loss kind of emulated that he just maybe isn't quite for that market. Fire action. Everybody does. We got to blow it all up. Fire everybody. Trade all the stars. Let's start again. But that's just not realistic. So I'll say fire Sheldon Keefe.
Ooh, how about that?
How about that?
Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg writes in and says, I'm sure the decision to retire was probably made a bit easier by the Jets' playoff implosion. Bones is 69. Both he and his wife have had health issues in the past season. The more and more we look at it and think of it, and the news just came down today, Rick Bowness retiring, it really seems like his decision and nobody else's. BW in Edmonton says, Moose, are you becoming Amish or witness protection? Just kidding. I don't think he's kidding. You do look a little Amish, which is cool, which is good.
The neck beard is gone. If I had only the neck beard, then maybe.
Allie's here, Jen's here, John from Edmonton's here, Buffalo Bills here. Everybody showed up today, so thank you for showing up, everybody. They're commenting. As we move on through the quick six show topics, we'll get to yours when we can. So we've covered Rick Bowness retiring. That happened this morning. The Leafs, what are they going to do? We mentioned that Nathan Rourke has been waived by the New England Patriots, but we haven't got that in depth yet. And as we move through our quick six show topics, just hang on, everybody. We go to NHL leftovers from Sunday. Radek Faksa broke a tie in his return to the Dallas lineup. 20-year-old Wyatt Johnston scored in another Game 7. And the Dallas Stars beat defending Stanley Cup champion Vegas 2-1 to wrap up their first-round series in a thrilling Game 7. The Stars move on to play well-rested Colorado in the second round with the first two games in Dallas. And I'll mention the other game from Sunday. Mika Zibanejad had 2 goals and an assist. Artemi Panarin also scored. And the New York Rangers beat the Carolina Hurricanes 4-3 on Sunday in Game 1 of that series. I would say that the Hurricanes thought they were playing the Islanders because they looked not with it. I think they'll be better as this series moves along. But back to the Stars and the Golden Knights. I guess I had ignored, but then it became very clear near the mid to end of that first round series of Dallas-Vegas how much everybody hated the Golden Knights. And to be honest, once they went down last night in Game 7, 2-1, I saw it on social media from a lot of Panthers fans that I follow. Cheaters never win. Karma gets cheaters. You cheat, you get. You were told 87,000 times they didn't break any rules. But you just refuse not to acknowledge it. Okay? So whatever. You also can't change the narrative. So I guess everybody's celebrating and dancing on the grave of the Vegas Golden Knights, and they pulled their loopholery, their slapdickery that they like to do, that Kelly McCrimmon did in Brandon, and now they got to own it because it didn't work. So it is an interesting thing to follow. You know what I mean?
Super interesting to follow. That was a hell of a series, maybe the best of the first round.
Oh, yeah.
The Toronto-Boston series was right there, too, obviously going 7 games. But 2 great series. We had back-to-back nights of Game 7. But, as you read that and you talk about the fans on social, it kind of made me feel good that I think my social media strategy is working. I don't unfollow people. I don't block anybody. But I use the mute function a lot. And when I was on social media, I didn't actually see anybody dancing on the grave of the Vegas Golden Knights. I didn't see
I saw a
anybody
lot.
really dancing on the grave of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it tells me all those people, you're probably muted on my timeline. And man, did I sleep good on the weekend because of it. So I apologize if you're listening and you're probably muted on my social media timeline, but now you know why.
Well, great point by you. We should never tell others how to live. But if you want some help in finding Zen, you can ask me. Because our good friend Janelle, huge Leafs fan and huge Saskatchewan Blades fan, I don't mean to laugh, but she tweeted, "How come the teams that I love never love me back?" And I was like, "Oh, Janelle, you poor thing. I just wanted to give her a hug." Maybe you saw that too. But all I can say is that'll be the day that I allow a sports team to affect my mood. Not happening. But I know that's also very rare. But with that Dallas-Vegas series, of them all, that was the best first-round series. I don't think, the Leafs-Boston was pretty good too. Those were the two best series, right? Both went to Game 7, coincidentally. But watching the Dallas-Vegas series, I had mentioned this throughout, watching the games, particularly in Dallas, I felt anxiety myself coming off the Stars fans. I'm really glad they won. I picked them to win, right? So that's good. Now, point 3, we're going to be discussing this all week. The Edmonton Oilers and Vancouver Canucks start their all-Canadian clash Wednesday in Vancouver in the second round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Bruins, Panthers meet tonight in Game 1 out here in the East, and the Stars meet in Colorado, as I said. We'll get to more of this in the next segment. And by the way, Joe Madden and Larry Abney are coming up in the program today. I do have thoughts on Bruins, Panthers. I'll get to those. But I want to mention this for the footballers that have shown up here today. More breaking news. The New England Patriots have waived Canadian quarterback Nathan Rourke. ESPN's Mike Rice first reported the news. The move came after the team selected 2 quarterbacks in the NFL draft, Drake May, 3rd overall, and Joe Milton in the 6th round. The Patriots signed veteran Jacoby Brissett in free agency, and Bailey Zappi, who started games last season, currently has a spot on the roster too. No room for Nathan Rourke. And where does he go next? I scalped that from 3downnation.com, the Canada's #1 football periodical. We have an association that way. They're good with it. And they quoted Nathan Rourke in saying, not with his being waived here, but I think with the Jacksonville, when he was waived in Jacksonville, he said, I know I'm good enough to be in the NFL, and I will exhaust every opportunity to be and stay in the NFL. And for that reason, I think he'll stay in the NFL. I don't think he's coming to the CFL. Certainly not for 2024. Training camp's open this week. But what's your read on this?
Yeah, I think Nathan Rourke will be in an NFL training camp. He's got lots of time before that starts, before that happens. And his agent's going to, has a lot of ammo. All the film on Nathan Rourke on a football field is fantastic. So to get a team to bring him into camp that needs a quarterback, the film is fantastic. But for the fans who are upset that Nathan Rourke is getting passed over for, rookie quarterbacks drafted in the NFL draft, I mean, don't be upset. When somebody's got something in their mind, it's so hard to change, no matter how much evidence is the other way. This microphone, every single day, this microphone delivers on this show. It sounds great. It's top of the line. Fantastic. But if all I want is a microphone that looks like what Rod has, this will never be good enough, and I'll always be waiting for the opportunity to have that other microphone, right? And for the next guy, they might be dreaming of this thing, and it might be perfect. It's the same with Nathan Rourke. When an NFL executive just wants something different and just doesn't think you're the guy, it doesn't matter how much good tape you have. If you don't fit what they want, then you're not going to be part of their plan. So he just needs to continue to wait, find the right situation with the right people, and it'll work out for Nathan because he's talented.
You're speaking very wisely for your age, young man. Well said. When we come back, we got some good stuff from the audience. We'll talk. We'll update you on the Blue Jays. And then Rick Bowness retires. Nathan Rourke waived. What are the Leafs going to do? Bruins, Panthers, I haven't got to. So we're just getting into it. Welcome, everybody, to the RP Show on a brand new weekend. We'll return in a moment on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
But a Blue Jays update, we can bring the Moose in. He's in Toronto. Eddie Rosario's two-run homer in the seventh inning broke an 8-8 tie, and the Washington Nationals beat the Toronto Blue Jays 11-8. Luis Garcia Jr. had 4 hits, including a home run, and drove in 4 runs as Washington took 2 of 3 off the Jays. Vladdy hit his 5th career grand slam for the Jays, who've now lost 4 of 5, and they're off today. Let's bring the Moose in. I need to stay out of the comments for a second. We'll dive back in a second, but we're having a lot of fun here, Darren. If you're following the theme of the Cats and Bolts podcast that Serena and I host, she hates making predictions, and I feel like you don't really like it either. And Arash Madani, our guy Arash, he won't do it. So when it comes to the Panthers and the Bruins, which opens tonight here in Sunrise, my gut as of Saturday night when they beat the Leafs, the Bruins, I thought was that they were going to take this series in like 6. And I'm not, my gut's saying Boston. But I'm getting so much guff from everybody here. And they haven't dropped a puck in the series yet. So I've changed my mind, and I'm going with the Panthers in 6. And I asked Serena this morning, nope. Which is her right. I would never make her do anything she doesn't want to do. So she's abstaining. That's getting a bigger revolt from fans than picking Boston. Again, I went with the Panthers in 6. She's abstaining. But can I say this about this series, Darren? Boston was 4-0 against Florida in the regular season. They, of course, choked the biggest choke in Stanley Cup playoff history last year, Boston, against these Panthers. They've been sucking on it all year long, so they have the motivation, okay? Florida's hungry too, but I think Boston's hungrier. And last series, Jeremy Swayman had a .950 save percentage. Second only to Tim Thomas's .967 in Bruins history for a highest save percentage in one series. .950. Jim Montgomery, their coach, is saying he's the biggest reason why they beat the Leafs, Jeremy Swayman. But I still think Florida's a better team. That's it. It's not like I'm being swayed by Panthers fans. Florida's just really, really good. But you understand, this ain't going to be easy. These are two really good teams. So what's your read on this one that starts tonight?
Yeah, neck and neck right down to the wire in the standings of the regular season. You know, the edge that the Panthers have is just how heavy that they play, physical, heavy hockey. But you know what? The Leafs brought that to the table early in round 1. They really played physical, out-hit Boston. The Bruins are composed, man. They're calm, and they'll withstand that and then counterpunch with their offense. You know, you look at the goal scorers in the series, you know, Toronto probably has more pure goal scorers than both of these teams. Didn't matter to Boston because Jeremy Swayman played well. They played great defensively, and they've got enough weapons to find ways to score goals. This is going to be a really great series. I think the line is razor thin. Probably going to go 6 or 7 games. I'll side with Florida, but, man, the line between them is tight.
You understand home ice doesn't mean really diddly squat in my mind either. In any playoff series, the Panthers won a Game 7 in Boston last year to take the series. Colorado won in Winnipeg in Game 5 to clinch. It's so overblown. John Paddock, who I respect immensely as a hockey man, the former coach of the Jets and Senators and God's team, the Regina Pats, he said home ice don't mean squat other than... Well, he never said last change. He said it just doesn't mean anything. That's from John Paddock. He goes, it's 200 by 85 in both places, right? So Florida being at home, I don't think means a whole lot. It's just two really good teams. And that's why I get a real kick out of these. Whoever's voting that the Leafs should fire everybody, you went toe-to-toe, overtime, Toronto, against a very good Boston team and lost 2-1. Why do they want to fire everybody? You just fired Kyle Dubas last year. You can't be firing people every year. You just can't. So that's our take on the Florida-Boston series. And while we're sitting here, and I'll delve back into the comments in a second, I mentioned Edmonton, Vancouver. I'm just flat out worried about people's safety, and I'm not joking. Vancouver fans have been known to do some really idiotic things. And me sitting here, we air on TELUS Optic TV, Channel 924 in BC, and Roger Shaw, Cable Channel 230 in BC. Didn't matter if I sit here and tell them to smarten up and don't do anything dumb in this series, whether it's fighting in the streets or lighting the city on fire. Like, that's not what we all think of Vancouverites, but it has happened. You've seen the clip of the young Vancouver kid in the Canucks jersey saying F Zach Hyman. You must have seen it. It was going around social media all weekend. Did you see it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You want me to go?
What more needs to be said? Yeah, go.
I know. It's going to be a wild series. And I'm, for the most part, again, working that mute button because I I don't need to see the social media back and forth necessarily, but that's also what makes the series so great is the rivalry. And you got Vancouver fans are saying, look, we kicked your butt in the regular season. Well, that was before we got going, before the coach changed. There was only one game afterwards, and McDavid didn't play. You're right, two different teams. You also can't take stock in what happened in round one and think that's going to happen in round two, because it's a reset. And the way that you play a certain team is the way you play a certain team. You might play completely different against another. So Edmonton, run and gun, all these goals against LA, and Vancouver really shut down, not a lot of shots, not a lot of chances, really low scoring games against Nashville, isn't indicative of what these two teams are going to bring to round two. It's going to be different. So I'm really curious to see when they step on the ice, what the pace is like, what these games are going to be like. And for the young goaltender in Vancouver, it's a big test. And you got McDavid and Draisaitl coming down and Zach Hyman putting the puck past you.
I'm taking Edmonton to win the series. You?
I, at the beginning, took Edmonton to win the second round against Vancouver. So I'll stick with that. But I don't think this is a quick series. I think it's a long, drawn-out series, 6 games.
Dallas, Colorado. I picked the Stars to go to the Stanley Cup final and win it. So that would mean they would have to beat Colorado. So I got Dallas to win that series. You?
Yeah, I did the same. I didn't have them winning the Cup, but I have Dallas going to the Cup final. So, yeah, I have them beating I had them beating Winnipeg, but I'll have them beating Colorado in 6 or 7.
Florida, Boston, we just covered that. We both got the Cats. And then Carolina, New York Rangers. I still have Carolina, even though they looked terrible Sunday. Watched almost all of that game. They were giving up chances like crazy. Brent Burns giving up the puck. But I think they'll come back, and I do have Carolina to win the series. You?
Yeah, I do as well. They're still my Cup team. I think Rod Brindamore, if there's a guy who can get his team to forget about a game and refocus, it's him, and I think they're fine. I think this is way too early in the series for them to panic.
Running through all of our topics today, breaking news again, Rick Bowness retiring as coach of the Winnipeg Jets, Nathan Rourke being waived by the New England Patriots, and what should the Leafs do? Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, writes in and he says, as a franchise, where do you even go? The Leafs have had some heavy hitters on staff for decades and have never gotten the job done. Forget fire everyone. Build a new arena because there's a funk. It's like Major League when they sacrificed a chicken in the clubhouse, remember? John in Edmonton writes and he says, Rod, breaking news. Chris Cuthbert, Craig Simpson to call play-by-play of Oilers Canucks. Thanks, John. Wayne in BC says Nathan Rourke will wait for a team to pick him up before coming back to the CFL. Buffalo Bill writes and he says, if the Leafs ever get a color Stanley Cup photo, society will say it's a computer a fake Photoshop. That's AI.
How
that
about
Leafs,
that?
That Leafs Stanley Cup photo, that's AI. Carlos in Indianapolis says what team has a need at quarterback now that the draft is over? Just hang on. He's talking about CFL, obviously, and Nathan Rourke. And Utah, Darren writes, and he says, I thought Moose might be coming to Utah. That looks like the standard uniform in Salt Lake. LOL. It's a Mormon thing, Moose. We've covered a lot of NHL here, so let's say this about Nathan Rourke. He's not coming to the Canadian Football League, I don't think. So to sit and talk about where he might go on the eve of training camps is kind of a worthless discussion. I don't really want to waste energy on it. But if he was smart, I saw people already putting power rankings or odds where he would go in the CFL. And I can't even remember who was at number 1. I think BC. But Argos, looks like they might be needing a quarterback. Rumor is Chad Kelly's going to be suspended. I don't know, man. It's dangerous to pass this stuff along, but that's just the rumor. Biz didn't seem to care, blowing up everybody's Twitter Saturday night with a rumor that turned out to be true that Joseph Wall wasn't going to play due to injury. So the rumor is that Chad Kelly's going to be suspended to open the season. But does it matter? Nathan Rourke ain't going to be here in time anyway.
No, he's not. He's going to be in a training camp somewhere. Why not somebody like the New York Jets? to me, if I was going to pick a landing spot, just off the top of my head, without actually spending some time, because this just came down this morning and we were more focused on Rick Bowness, New York Jets come to mind as a place where he could be a second or third or fourth guy coming into camp and getting an opportunity to compete and play. And Aaron Rodgers' future is not certain or a long one either. That could be a good situation if they like him.
I'm sorry. I sound like Phil Esposito on the Tampa Color. I'm oohing and awing, or Carm when he was doing it for me for years. You're talking, and I'm reading the comments here from the hockey club. Corey Pedersen in Tallahassee, Florida, watching. He says, I'm very happy with how the Leafs played. Nobody should be fired. Let's not forget how good the Bruins have been over the last 2 years. That's the best the Leafs have played in the last 5 years. They figured it out. They were defensive dogs. I agree, Patty. Maybe you and I should go to Toronto and have a meeting with everybody and just say, hey, sit down. Come into our office and sit down. You need to smarten up. John Ohm in Winnipeg says, have they burned down the Leafs in Toronto yet? Come on, man. You have a great team. Projecting. You're talking about the Winnipeg Jets, aren't you? You just don't know that. John, they got a great team in Winnipeg, too. Newsflash, sometimes great teams don't win. Film at 11. Moose, I'll see you in hour 2.
Can I correct something quick? I know we got to go. Some fans in here. I picked Toronto to lose that series in 7 games. I got 6 of the 8 series right. And 4 of the 6 that I got right, I picked the exact number of games. So don't worry. I picked the Oilers to win. They'll be fine in round 2.
Right.
Is that sort of some objection to your outfit today? Why are we pointing that out?
So I know I had the comments pulled up in the break, and somebody was saying that I picked Toronto to win, so they're worried that I'm going to pick the Oilers. No need to worry.
Don't react, Darren. Yeah, I had no idea why you were bringing that up. Come on, man. Let's get with it here. We'll see you in hour 2. Joe Madden's in next. We are live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The race for the Cantera Seed Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes, and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seeds Cup on Flow Hockey TV.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest, Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience in the
Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
It's very clear to me. What I say last hour, Darren, I see things before everybody else, and everybody calls me crazy, and then what I say comes to fruition, and nobody comes back and apologizes and goes, yeah, you were right.
How about that?
Like, I mean, nobody. But I'm used to it. I don't get upset about it anymore.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show. I'm smiling because life's great. Thank you, Rick Regan. Listening to that clip. If you're sitting waiting for an apology, for whatever reason, you're going to be waiting a long time. Let's bring the moose in. That's the misnomer. I get into this 12-step program. Everybody's familiar. You don't know the steps specifically, but everybody knows about making amends. I ran around apologizing to everybody. Okay, how about you guys apologize to me? What? So, just move on. Hey, it ain't ever going to come. I don't even know why I was talking about that there. But let's just, here's a good example. Moose is here. I'm in Florida. Game 1 tonight. Panthers, Bruins. I have so much to talk about. Remind me about Milt Stegall in a second, okay? Darren? People go, what? People, that's what they're thinking. Here's my thing. I'm not feeling well. It's hard to believe, I know. I look great. But my eyeballs hurt, my throat's lumpy and scratchy. And I'm thinking I'm going to go have a nap right after the show. I just don't feel 100%. And if I wake up feeling great, I'll go to Game 1 tonight, the Panthers and the Bruins. I don't know if it's a cold. I had this workout on Saturday. I was telling you about it. Johnny O's, an outdoor workout here in the Florida heat, and it finished me. Not only for all day Saturday, it's 2 days later, and I'm still finished. I was seeing stars. I wanted to puke. When I say seeing stars, I don't mean NFL alum Chris Carter and Major Wright that were also in that workout. No big deal. I'm just saying I was literally seeing stars. It screwed me up for 2 days. So I don't know if I'm going to go work out in the sun again. But if I wake up from this nap and I feel good, I'll go to the game tonight. Now, number 2. Breaking news, Rick Bowness has retired from the National Hockey League, stepping down as head coach of the Winnipeg Jets. After 38 seasons in the NHL, Rick Bowness is retiring. When this news broke about an hour ago when we went to air, I said, is he jumping or was he pushed? We kind of worked this around to, it's his decision. He's had health issues. He stepped away from the team twice. This really seems like his decision. But don't get mad at us for even questioning it because it seems shrouded in somewhat of secrecy. And a week ago when the Jets season ended, he talked about being back next year. And then the other thing is Nathan Rourke has been waived by the New England Patriots. It's just too crowded there. It shouldn't surprise anybody, Darren, that he was waived. It's a new regime. Belichick's gone. Duron Mayo's in charge. No changes there should be a surprise to anybody. So we'll talk more about that. And then the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this morning announced this. This is the point that I'm getting to. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers today announced that Canadian Football Hall of Fame receiver and franchise icon Milt Stegall will be a participant on day 1 of the club's rookie camp on Wednesday, May 8th. That's in 2 days. Milt rejoins the Blue Bombers after officially retiring from the CFL following the 2008 season. He's been an analyst on CFL on TSN telecasts ever since. Milt is a Blue Bombers legend and one of the most decorated players in CFL history. And then the Jets announcement of Rick Bowness was just a big on all of that. That's my point. You see how the teams don't confer on these things, right? They don't confer. It'd be nice if they did, but they don't.
They don't. No. And you can't expect them to, and it's just tough because this news gets lost, and it's supposed to be a really exciting day. And You think it's going to be somewhat quiet, but it's just not. And Rick Bowness isn't thinking about Milt Stegall, probably doesn't know Milt Stegall, all the rest. But, you mentioned 08. Doesn't feel like it, man, but that's 16 years ago already. That's wild. But I've been watching his videos. He's been working, trying to get this opportunity to come back and, just get on the field. I don't think he's trying to make a comeback and sign a contract and play, but to get out there for rookie camp. It'll be a fun promo, that hopefully the CFL on TSN does a whole bunch of stuff with and creates a bunch of great videos and all the rest. And I hope it's fun for Milt. But that's kind of where this begins and ends, I think.
If I didn't love Milt Stegall so much, personally, I would say, come on, man. But he's been hounding any team in the Canadian Football League to do this, to give him a 1 day. So what I don't think people understand is they'll give him 1 day, and then he's going to want another day. Because I've known these football guys for a long time. They always want one more down. But we'll be tuned in. By the way, I'll get to your questions, man. I hope you're having as much fun, everybody, as we are here hosting this program. I said near the end of hour one, don't be sad because it's over. Smile because it happened. That's a Dr. Seuss line. And Allie in Texarkana writes in, she says, I love Dr. Seuss. I was thinking of Allie with this. Here's a tie-in. You think the NHL people don't know who the CFL people are, or for that matter, even the NFL, because they're ensconced to their own thing? But they do. My dad came back from Dallas when Mark Crawford was coaching the Stars. Must have been training camp. Dad went down every year for training camp, and then quite often would go back in the playoffs, too, for a couple of games, my dad. And he was all excited when he came back because he had spent some time with Mark Crawford when he was the head coach of the Stars. And my dad was great with him impression. So he's like, yeah, Crow. He said, hey, Jimmy, your kid's the voice of the Rough Riders. Hey, that's pretty cool, Jimmy. Hey? Punched him in the shoulder. Mark Crawford, coach of the Stars, thought it was cool that their scout's kid was the voice of the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, which, by the way, it is cool. Here's what people don't understand. If you work in the sports industry, at least this is the way it should work, and it's what I've seen, you get universal respect. Doesn't matter the sport. It doesn't matter the level. It's just a code, and you know that because you work in it, Darren. You know that, right? There's sacrifice. There's a lot of things that go into this that people don't understand, and there's just a code amongst everybody. And so Dad couldn't wait to come back and tell me that Mark Crawford thought that was cool. John Ohm says, hey, Rod, would Daryl Sutter or Mike Babcock be in the running to coach the Winnipeg Jets? I need to know. LOL. John Ohm is literally the poster boy for excitement. Let's say that. Because it would be tomorrow's question. Who should be the next coach of the Jets? Scott Arniel, Daryl Sutter, Mike Babcock, or other. And after speaking to some members of the Sutters last week, I can tell you this. I would say Daryl would accept a call. That's what I heard. That's the sense that I get. It seems like nobody saw this coming down. I think Darren Dreger tweeted an hour before the bonus announcement that to be prepared, Rick Bowness was going to retire. But they kept this very close to the vest. Could you see one of those old school hard asses going in there?
I was just about to say, we're going to have a hell of a time coming up with a list for the poll. I disagree with you. I don't think Mike Babcock's on that list or anywhere near anybody's list now anymore. Daryl Sutter might be on that list because he's a coach that can come in and take an established group of players and get them to the finish line. Can he be part of the rebuild and all the rest and last for 5-6 years? No, that's not happening. But Scott Arniel should be on that list. I'm cool with Daryl Sutter being on that list. Gerard Gallant probably near that list. Barry Trotz probably isn't on that list now because he's the GM of the Nashville Predators, and they're in a pretty good situation. But there's other names that'll pop up on that list. Mitch Love's name should probably pop up. We could go around the circle on it. But, yeah, I think, Daryl's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a conversation for NHL radio or Winnipeg Sports Talk. But he asked, so we'll answer it. I think if we're betting right now, I would say Scott Arniel. But it's interesting, too. You look at Daryl. You look at all these coaches. I don't know if it's good or bad that I got it out of the way a lot younger than them, like having a sour ending from said team I mentioned earlier, because the sooner you can get over it and move on, the happier you'll be. And my point by that is so many people that do get fired, they can't get over it. And they don't want that to be their legacy. I've had one coach tell me, and I don't want, it was a football coach, but I don't want to, I'll tell you after who it was. But he's just frothing like coaches do, spit and nail. Football coaches. You know what I mean? He's so mad. He couldn't wait for his next job. And I said, what? Dude, chill out. Why are you so worked up about this? And he goes, because I don't want people's lasting image of me to be me walking off that field fired by him. That idiot. And while he wasn't wrong, I think we overplay what people think. You get that, right? I mean, look at Daryl Sutter. He's got to sit in Alberta for the rest of his life thinking that he got fired by the Flames. And anybody that really knows could tell you he wasn't the problem. You know what you you have thoughts on this? Because I could literally go on all day.
I know.
And I won't.
And to be
it's
honest,
1:11 Eastern.
It doesn't matter if he was the problem or not the problem. He still got fired. And something he's got to deal with, and live with. And, will he get another opportunity? The older he gets, you're just not sure. Winnipeg might be the perfect fit. And Winnipeg fans that are watching this, sitting there being like, no, please, we don't need that. Well, you might for a year or two. And that should be your expectation. Now, you just re-signed, Scheifele and Hellebuck on 6-year deals. And, they're signing up for this, maybe not. But for that one, this team's close for that year to get you across the line. He could be a great fit in that situation. But so would Scott Arniel. He came in when Rick Bowness went away at a couple of times this season, and he was great. The team never lost a beat. They were really good. I don't even know if they lost many games when he was coaching. So that's a great fit, too.
Well, by the way, I almost feel like nobody really has this figured out. But I look at Vegas. I would kind of think that they have it figured out, but they lost last night in Game 7. And we talked about all of this last hour. All the Thomas Hertl skullduggery and acquiring Noah Hannafin, signing him to a long-term deal. You really think that Kelly McCrimmon in Vegas has it figured out? Yet, they lost a first-round series coming, against Dallas. So I'm talking about how you run a team, who you hire as coach, because people think the old fart coaches, their time is done. Oh, really? Then why did Buffalo just hire Lindy Ruff? Right? Like there's nobody, it doesn't need to be all young guys like a Chris Knobloch. And, the old guy's time isn't done either. Nobody has it all figured out. And by the way, so much good stuff's coming up here. Bill Belichick. Here's the one. That's the one that I can't figure out this whole Patriots thing. And by the way, the breaking news today, Nathan Rourke waived by the Patriots. Darren knows where I'm going with this. Listen, we've seen all the streaming docs on Aaron Hernandez with the Patriots and Tom Brady, the man in the arena, and blah, blah, blah. And Robert Kraft, Seward Bill in his interviewing with the Atlanta Falcons, which has happened to me, so I know that this stuff happens. And yet they all got together for Tom Brady's roast last night. That's the thing I don't get. I don't get it. I've read the quotes. I didn't watch the roast. I got to watch it because it looks amazing. But Belichick's there. Kraft's there. Brady's there. Darren and I talked about this on the phone. I'm like, I thought they all hated each other. That was the sense I got. And Belichick, nobody will hire him. So I'm saying take your cajillions you've made and your 6 Super Bowl rings and your 300 wins and just go on a beach somewhere. And when I say that to people, they go, yeah, but Rod, you don't understand. Guys like that, they can't. this ties back into you don't want the story to end the way that it ended. But when you look at it the way I look at it, who cares? Bye. But they just can't. I got to watch that. Did anybody watch it on Netflix? Tell me how those, were they sitting together? Darren, I don't get it. Please tell me.
I've been watching it I was watching it this morning, Rod. I'm not done yet. I'm going to continue watching it the second I step off the air here because it is really good. It is really good, and I'm excited for the rest of it. I didn't watch it live. I was watching hockey. I didn't watch it live, and I didn't want to start it in the middle because I couldn't get the beginning of it. But no, they weren't sitting together. Some of the Patriots receivers were sitting together, like Randy Moss was sitting with Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski. They were all together at a table. Bill Belichick did an opening where he had Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady there, and that was pretty funny. Robert Kraft was there, but I didn't see him anywhere near Bill. So it's funny. But the thing about it is they don't sit like, yeah, they might not like each other, but at least it's out in the open that they don't like each other, and they'll get in a room or they'll just, coexist, understanding we don't like each other. But you know what? We're going to be professional, and we're just going to we all got to be at the same ball. So they're just going to be there and deal with it later.
Okay, so it's like a wedding, divorced parents at a wedding or a graduation.
Yeah.
We'll go. We don't need to hang out, but we'll all go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Okay, thank you. I got to watch it for myself. Like you said, they weren't sitting together, but they were. Okay. Well, thank you. Look what we covered today. I was saying earlier, I hope you're enjoying the show because we are. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, we're having a ball, Rod. I love the RP show. And regarding Milt Stegall coming back for a one-day training camp, John Ohm says, I love Milt Stegall. He is a great person. I hope he turns some heads at rookie camp. Great news, bad timing, Bones. All right, he says, boom. The very day that Rick Bowness retires is the day the Bombers announced Milt Stegall's coming back for one day at training camp. And I'll also say this about Milt Stegall. All I'll say is I was sober coaching a really good friend of his. I'm not going to say who. And he always was checking in as to how it was going. Milt cares. And all that stuff about how Milt, he said he shouldn't have to wear a helmet because it'd be ashamed that he has to cover that face. All that stuff, that's all an act. It's all an act. I'm sorry to tell you right now, his arrogance, his all of this, he's not that guy. He's that guy on TV, but he's not that guy in real life. He cares. He's one of those people. He's one of us. Good people. But he doesn't want you to know. We'll be back. I'll be right back. It is the RP show. I'm reading the comments, man. They're great. They're great, Darren. I'll get to them when we come back. Live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour.
You're as cold as ice.
May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest, Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Reward your love of movies by signing up for Landmark Extras for free today. Get more of what you love. Free movies and concession items, invitations to exclusive screenings, special events, and more. There are 3 rewarding programs to choose from that get you something extra with every movie purchase. Visit landmarkcinemas.com for details, and let's please bring the moose in. Just recapping what we've been talking about today. It's been a lot coming out of the weekend. Leafs, what should they do? That's the poll question today, by the way. What should the Leafs do after another Game 7 loss? Fire everybody, fire Brendan Shanahan, fire Sheldon Keefe, or fire nobody. And I said fire nobody. Darren said fire Sheldon Keefe, and the majority is saying fire everybody. Of course. Which, hey, by the way, where is this guy? Utah Darren writes in and he says, Bum Phillips said coaches are hired to be fired. I guess. But have you ever been fired? It doesn't feel very good. And I go back and say that, like, there's just so few, there's so little of people in the world. There's so little empathy. You were fired. Who cares? Nobody ever stops to think about how that affects somebody's career, their mood, their marriage. You know what I mean? Yeah, I feel like you were going to say something there before I move on.
No.
Anything?
You're right, man. Like, the end is part of every journey. Doesn't mean it's a good thing. Doesn't mean you enjoy it. You know? It doesn't all have to be good. Just because you get hired to be fired doesn't mean it's as you know, easy of a day getting fired as it is being hired. Nobody likes the end of a story. Doesn't matter how it ends. And yes, most coaches get fired. They don't leave on their own terms. Does it make it easy?
Well, yeah. It is the Rod Pedersen Show. So I'll tell you something. I talk of this. You aren't there yet. You wait till you get to your 50s, and I don't quite know what it's going to be like in my 60s and 70s. But I've got somebody who works in the sober industry like me, and he said he was tired. And I'm like, you're tired? He goes, I'm just tired. He goes, my soul's tired. I'm sitting there. I tell you this all the time. I have trolls that write into rodpedersen.com all the time. You say the end. Sure. But I did a commentary on Weston Dressler, who's going into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Some guy wrote in and goes, I thought you'd have had a better story about Weston Dressler. Bah, 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 bah. I thought you'd have a better anecdote. But that's what I'm tired. I'm just tired. I told the story of Weston Dressler on the very first day of training camp, his first camp, June of 2008. I was diving all over the field. Like every single rep was the Super Bowl. Not only did he do that every day of the training camp, he did that every day of his 11-year pro career. And that's what got him to the National Football League with the Kansas City Chiefs and got him as a Super Bowl champion with Sask. That's the one thing. But the other was he was only 5'7". This guy made it to the NFL at 5'7". And the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. And his dad, Terry, told me a story. They're from Bismarck, North Dakota. Terry was coaching Pop Warner football, youth football. And Weston was playing as an underage on their team. He wasn't even old enough to be on the team. Far undersized at that age. And the league said, Weston can't play. He's not big enough. He's going to get hurt. And secondly, he's not even old enough anyways. I put this all in the commentary. And his coach, Terry, goes, if Weston doesn't play, I don't coach. Well, that was the end of that. Weston played and went on to this remarkable career. And that's the story I put in the commentary. And some jackwagon writes in and goes, I thought you'd have a better story. And I'm like, that's what makes me tired.
What did you tell me in hour one? Don't listen to him.
I don't know.
Don't get sucked in. Right? Reading the comments. But I understand. I do understand.
Well, do you want to moderate the comments? That would help me out a lot if I didn't even see them. Yeah. That would help me out a lot if you want to run the website. Dale in Winnipeg writes in and he says, great show. Happy Monday. Fun story. I had helped Milt light his camping fire here in Winnipeg 16 years ago. Actually, my ex-wife did most of it long before our son Jack. 'Twas a fun weekend. And that's the thing. Milt lives in Atlanta, but I mean, he's such a Winnipeg fixture. Dude, Milt Stegall Drive. Hooters is on Milt Stegall Drive. Like, does it get better than that? I don't think so. 902-518-3033. And by the way, Darren and I last hour made our predictions for round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Just to recap, because I never actually wrote it down. We both said Edmonton, right? Yeah?
Yeah, I nodded.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Yeah, I wasn't looking at you, so I couldn't hear you. Colorado, Dallas. We both have Dallas, right?
Yeah.
We both have Florida, and we both have Carolina.
Pretty
correct?
easy.
Okay. Regarding the news of the day that Rick Bowness is retiring in Winnipeg as head coach of the Winnipeg Jets, and again, we've kind of worked it around that Darren and I agree, and I think the viewers do too. This was Rick's decision at 69 years of age and a finalist as coach of the year. It doesn't seem in any way, now that we've talked about it, that the Jets would have forced this decision. Not after a Jack Adams finalist season, right? So now it doesn't take long. The body's not even cold. Bob in Saskatoon writes in regarding the replacement. He says, good morning. I like Daryl Sutter, but especially Mike Babcock. Prairie guy, summer home is in Saskatchewan, and a great resume. Jets maybe need some tough love. I guess, we watched the Jets pretty darn closely over the last 2 years. I don't think Rick Bowness was soft on them.
No.
I'm sure you could find a harder guy, but.
Yeah, I don't know if he was a hard guy, if he was, out there really, really pushing these guys and holding their nose to the grindstone necessarily. But, we just talked about, they had the they finally got the culture cleaned up. And then they had this great season and got into the playoffs and thought they had a good matchup and all the rest. And yeah, it didn't work in the playoffs. You ran into a good Colorado team that found their game, and you didn't, Hellebuck didn't quite have the series you wanted him to have, and those things, happen. You kind of lost the game a little bit, but you had a lot of good things to build off of. So, you don't need a big shift. You don't need a culture reset. You don't need a lot of these things. You kind of need to pass the baton, carry the momentum forward. And for that reason, I'm talking myself into thinking maybe it is Scott Arniel that should be the front runner.
Oh, I believe that it should be. But are you speaking a little bit about the Leafs there too? Like, is there not a similarity? The Jets and the Leafs have been in the playoffs every year, which is kind of what you want. Not every team can say that. Just haven't gotten far, but they're in the playoffs every year. I don't know anymore what's expected, just so you know. I'm 51, but I feel 91. I don't know what goes. Like, these teams, they try so hard just to get into the playoffs, and people wonder why. Like the Flames. They try so hard. Why didn't you sell off earlier? Because we all get to keep our jobs if we get into the playoffs. We miss the playoffs, we're all gone. Ask Brian Burke, Ron Hextall, all the teams that miss. Somebody gets fired. Generally, somebody's got to pay. That's the way that it is. Do we think that the Leafs, it's not okay. You're going to speak here, Darren, for the Leaf Nation to be in the playoffs every year. That's not okay.
Not anymore.
Fair,
no, it's not.
Deal or no deal.
Yeah, no deal. It's not okay to be in the playoffs in that market and in a lot of markets. I'm not saying the Leafs have this, standard that nobody else has, but getting into the playoffs just to get knocked out in the first round, like they're trying to win a Stanley Cup. Everybody's trying to win a Stanley Cup, but the pressure's so high that it's kind of now Stanley Cup or bust for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Even getting to the second round last year wasn't good enough. So you need to see strides forward, and you need to ask the question, not is this the group that can get us to the playoffs? Because that's hard enough. And I put that in perspective when people want to trade Mitch Marner and fire the coach, and he's not a playoff performer. But I'm like, yeah, but he's the 100-point guy in the regular season. You still need to get to the playoffs, which is incredibly difficult to do. The Pittsburgh Penguins have an incredibly talented team, never made the playoffs with all those stars that they have. So it's hard to do. But at the same time, you got to look at your group and say, is this a group, not that can get us to the playoffs, but is this a group that can win us a Stanley Cup? And if the answer is no, you need to make some changes.
What did I tell you earlier? We could sit and talk about this all day, just the Leafs. But God knows there's enough shows in Canada that are doing that. But I thought it was quite interesting. Scott Laughlin, my buddy on NHL radio, saying this morning, and he's a Leaf guy. He just is, whether he wants to admit it or not. He thinks the Leafs should bring in Mitch Marner and say, hey, do you really want to be here, Mitch? Do you want to be here? Do you agree with that? Does it look like he doesn't? Because I thought he played pretty hard. I really thought he played hard.
I don't know. It was talk all series about his engagement level and how he coasts and glides by guys. Mitch isn't a big guy. Never been a physical player. Doesn't want to go in the corners and muck it up and win those dirty battles that you have to do in the playoffs. That's, he made a great play, almost turned the puck over, but made a great play inside the blue line that almost set up a goal for Joel Edmondson in Game 7. Great play. He's so gifted and skilled offensively. I think you need to stop asking players to be who they aren't, accept them for who they are. And if they're not going to do the dirty work, find somebody to pair with him that will do the dirty work and let him be himself. But I don't know if it's a case of him wanting to be there or not, but he's definitely uncomfortable. It looks that way, going and getting physical and really engaging in some of those battles.
Sure. He's always been that way, though. But I think we all have seen Mitch Marner when he's not engaged. We've seen it in the playoffs. Game 7 against Montreal a few years ago, and the bubble comes to mind. He wasn't that. Just Saturday night, I thought he was pretty good all series. But again, we don't know what's in his head. I'm just going by what I see on the ice. It was pretty clear to me Johnny Gaudreau was disengaged in Calgary. I think we could all see that. And then when he left in the middle of the night, it proved it. Hang on. Paul in Humboldt says, wait, Did Babcock's tough love work in Toronto? Oh, we don't look back. We just cancel people and we don't look back. Paul, didn't you know that? What a day. Oy vey. Hey, Moose, you have a good one. Thanks. Enjoy. Thanks for dressing up today.
You got it.
Larry Abney joins us next, and I'm excited about that interview from the Rattlers. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour.
You're as cold as ice.
May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest, Head Pins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
The RP Show continues. It is episode number 1,237. One day I should stop saying how many shows we've done. But not today. We're here on WQEE Radio, as well as Television Game Plus, which for the first time ever, I believe, will be airing Canadian Elite Basketball League games. And the season starts up May 21st, Edmonton and Calgary, May 22nd, Winnipeg at Saskatchewan. We're big supporters of the league. So always excited to talk CEBL basketball. Larry Abney is the coach of the Saskatchewan Rattlers, my home province team. Larry, he's a New Yorker, although I don't know if he talks like it. I looked you up, Larry. Welcome to the RP show, man. Welcome to the CEBL. How excited are you to get this thing going?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. My accent comes out a little bit stronger as I get more excited. Appreciate your support, as always. And definitely super excited to come up to Canada.
Well, look, I was going to wear my Rattlers gear, but it's Florida Panthers game day, so tomorrow I'll wear it, or maybe the next time when you come on, because I love the league. I follow it real closely, and when I look up you've been all around the world with the wonderful sport of basketball. I mentioned a New Yorker, and through the Clippers organization, found your way to Saskatchewan. So maybe just tell our viewers and league fans a little bit about you and how you got to be the head man with the Rattlers.
Well, a little bit about myself. Like you said, I am from New York, born and raised. I came out to California in the mid-'90s to play for the legendary Jerry Tarkanian. So I've been in California back and forth bi-coastal for quite some time. I became a member of the Los Angeles Clippers in 2017. So it's been about 7 seasons. And through a mutual friend, Barry, reached out and asked if I'd be interested. I wasn't sure. I'm still contracted with the Clippers. They gave me the opportunity to come up and hone my skills with the Rattlers, and I'm greatly appreciative to both Barry, Lee, the Rattlers organization, as well as the Clippers organization. So I'm ready to come up and make some special things happen.
I can't wait. Barry Rollick, a fantastic basketball man, and I was very excited to see that he's back with the team. And so you got some players with a Clipper connection too. You better. So you're getting a gang all together. Tell me about that.
Well, Barry's been doing a great job putting the roster together. He's definitely leaned on me to ask, what I thought and getting my style of play matched with the players. Obviously, there's going to be some teams that come that are in the CEBL who've been together for a while. We'll be coming together as a new team with new players, and we got to get everything together rather quickly. So I think it was pretty beneficiary to bring some players that played together that I was familiar with, who's also familiar with what I've done. So we brought 2 players from the Clippers organization who are part of the G League team, and EJ, as well as Bryson. And these are 2 great players who've played for me as the associate head coach of our G League organization, who's going to come up and make some noise and be fan favorite.
Let me ask you this. What attracted you to the Canadian Elite Basketball League? I mean, it's in year 6. Our show's in year 6. So I call ourselves Startup Cousins. And I guess we're not even startups anymore. But it's gone real well. And we're excited to have the games on this television channel, by the way. But so I've been following it from day one. Good friends with the commissioner, Mike Morreale. I love it. What do you love about it?
My biggest connection with the league has been one of the stars of the league, and Xavier Moon. Xavier Moon is a 2 or 3-time MVP of the league. He's been a part of the organization for the last 3 seasons, and he came right from the CEBL. And so we heard a lot of great things about it from him and through his path. And also, it's also up on us to, get players the best possible fits for our teams down here in the States. And a lot of good players have come from that league. So we've watched that league closely to find out what players are there and who could come down and play for us. And we've sent some players up there. So it's a cousin relationship as well, with the players coming back and forth. So I've been aware of the league and I have an opportunity to coach in it. It's not something that I thought would happen, but absolutely glad it's happening.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to love it. You're going to see a beautiful country. And Xavier Moon, I don't know if you're a football fan or not, but he is the second most famous Moon of all time at Edmonton, the first being Warren Moon, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I don't know if you're a football guy. Houston Oilers quarterback and a friend of ours. Oh, you are? Okay. Okay, so second most famous Moon in Edmonton. Yeah, exactly. But Winnipeg, is pushing the attendance. They're getting NBA-like attendance there in Canada Life Center. And I think we can beat it in Saskatchewan. I do. Calgary plays to sellouts. Like, it's rocking. And what about the level of play? What would you say about that, the talent level? If anybody hasn't watched a game and they're thinking about going this summer, why should they, in your mind?
Well, when you talk about the talent level, you talk about guys who are looking to be NBA players. Xavier Moon, finished out our season with the Los Angeles Clippers. So you're talking about NBA caliber players. Xavier Moon's not the only one. There's a lot of G League guys that are coming up with hopes of getting to the NBA and vice versa. So if you're talking about possibly seeing some guys that maybe don't have the big names yet, but maybe will one day, then you'll pretty much have seen them there first. The guys in this league all have professional aspirations. This is a professional league, and whether it be the NBA or overseas in other capacities in other countries, you're talking about top level talent. And so again, this is a league for these guys to come up and show what they can do and to prove it on a daily basis against the best competition in the world. And the CEBL has it.
Well, number one, I never heard anybody call it the CEBL, but I like it. Can I join you with that? It rolls off the tongue a lot better than CEBL. And it seems like you are not coming into this in any way blind. You know exactly what you're getting into. So you're clearly a smart guy, man. So what has you excited about the Rattlers specifically?
I'm excited about what we can do. Again, for the fans, like obviously the football there has been huge. The basketball there has been big as well with them winning the championship in their inaugural season. And people want the win. I understand that the city, the province, I want to call it the state, but the province, they want to get behind winners. And we're hoping to return. we're hoping to return it to that. We want to put a product on the floor that the fans are excited about. And obviously, the number one thing is to win game. Me personally, as the new coach, I want to make the players better that come play for me. I want them to leave feeling like they gained something, they got better wherever they take it, and want to return to the CEBL to also make it better in turn. I also personally want to get better. This is an opportunity for me to hone my skills as a coach. And so, it's going to be an exciting season for the fans, the players, everyone around.
Well, this seems like a perfect fit. I can't wait I'm coming back in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to be at as many Rattlers games as I can, let alone all of the CEBL games, because I just love the league. And you're right, the ring is the thing. Everybody wants to win, but only one team can in the end. Larry, appreciate the time, man. Welcome to the CEBL, and let's do it again soon.
Thanks for having me. I hope to see you soon. Again, hopefully talking about all the wins we're collecting.
Absolutely. I'll hold you to it. Larry Abney, the head coach of the Saskatchewan Rattlers, joining us today, as I hope to get a lot of CEBL interviews on here. And you will be watching the games, won't you, on Game Plus TV Network. May 21st, Edmonton Stingers at the Calgary Surge in the Saddle Dome. Can we pack the dome? And then Winnipeg at Saskatchewan the very next night at SaskTel Center. And after that, don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. We'll be right back with Overtime after this. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience in the seats or streaming to you.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, here we go with Overtime, a proud presentation of our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. It is a great hockey town, despite the fact the Flames aren't in the playoffs, but the Wranglers are on quite a run. Thank you to my guys in Calgary, Tim Hunter and Zach Nelson, for posting the photos of it. They're carrying the torch of pro hockey in Calgary, those guys. From the audience, some comments here, because that's what we do on Overtime. And again, it's for Overtime Hockey Lanes. That's one of their lids. They got really nice gear there, too, by the way. You can find them at 28th Street Northeast, where skill and fun collide. An amusement park for hockey players. Trust me, I've done it. Buffalo Bill writes in and says, great show and weekday therapy. Thanks, RP Show. I'm not legally allowed to say therapist, but I can call you coaching. I'll coach you out of a bad mood if you want. I do it to myself regularly. Buffalo Bill says, will the curse of Gary Bettman be broken with a Canadian-based team winning the Stanley Cup this year? I don't like that it's called the curse of Gary Bettman, but I understand it. I like Gary. I've been covering this league and been around it for a long time, going to drafts since the 90s, and he's always been great. But I also can't deny that no teams won a Stanley Cup since he's been the commissioner in 1993. So it does kind of line up, doesn't it? Hey, thank you, Ryan in Saratoga, New York. He says, great show, Rod, despite the illness. Hope you feel better. Have a great day to the rest of the squad. I don't know what it is. I'm going to have a nap this afternoon, and if I feel great, I'll go to game one. Because I really want to be there, Panthers and Bruins. I know it'll be fun. I don't want to make anybody else sick either. A real conundrum. Yeah, John Ohm in Winnipeg. We got something here. It's pronounced CEBL. Who knew? The Canadian Elite Basketball League. Is the league okay with that? Can we check with Mike Morielli on that? Is he okay with the league being called the CEBL? Because if it is, I'm down. Lots of breaking news, and Winnipeg seems to be the place to be today for that. Winnipeg Jets head coach Rick Bowness has announced his retirement from coaching after 38 seasons in the National Hockey League. The Moncton, New Brunswick product led the Jets to a 98, 57-9 record during his 2 seasons at the helm and was named as a finalist for Coach of the Year this year. Meanwhile, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers announced that Canadian Football Hall of Fame receiver and franchise icon Milt Stegall will be a participant on day 1 of the club's rookie camp Wednesday. Milt the Stilt rejoins the Bombers after retiring from the CFL following the 2008 season. He's been an analyst on the CFL on TSN ever since. He's a Blue Bombers legend and one of the most decorated players in CFL history. If I didn't love him so much, I would say this is silly. But it's Milt, so he can do what he wants. He's a good guy. He's a Hall of Famer. He can do what he wants. But you know, once he gets 1 day, he's going to want 2 days. And then he's going to want a contract. Then he's going to want to play. I meant to get into this with Moose, and I never did. It's fun. Toronto has less than 24 hours to choose its semifinal opponent in the Professional Women's Hockey League playoffs. In its first season, the PWHL introduced a playoff wrinkle. The top team in the regular season gets to choose its opponent between the third and fourth seeds. They happen to be Minnesota and Boston. And then number 2, Montreal awaits Toronto's choice. They'll play the other. The postseason starts Wednesday. Can you longtime sports fans, and I want to say CFL fans, but was that not a thing back in the day? There was a league? Do you remember, Clark? I don't think you're anywhere near old enough. But there was a league that did this, and it might have been the CFL, where they picked their opponent. This is fun. This is a major throwback. And I'll say it again. I was out for a very long walk in the neighborhood today listening to NHL radio. And do you understand, people, you get it, right, as sports fans? If you knew that your opponent picked you because they think you're going to be weaker than the other choice, what's that going to do to you? Fire you up, right? I think they got rid of it because it caused too many problems in whatever league did it. And I want to say it was the CFL. But Gordy Stellick said today they should have a team vote and then say they flipped a coin so as to not fire up the other team. I think it's great. It's got me interested more. I wouldn't be interested in the PWHL playoffs at all. But because of this, I'm interested. I am interested in Game 7 of the Blades and the Warriors, yes. For you people that are watching in Saskatchewan, as Darren said, that's all of Western Canada should be excited in that. The Western Hockey League's East Conference Final going to a Game 7. Moose Jaw at Saskatoon Tuesday night. 5 of the 6 games so far have gone to overtime, including Sunday's must-win for the Tribe. 4-3 in overtime. Lyndon Lakovic, the winner in Moose Jaw. Yeah, I'm following. You think I'm not, but I am. ESPN reports the New England Patriots are waiving. Why did I do that again? Are waiving Canadian quarterback Nathan Rourke. The Victoria-born Rourke became expendable when the Pats drafted quarterback Drake May 3rd overall in last month's draft and signed veteran quarterback Jacoby Brissett in free agency. Where does he go? We all think he stays in the NFL. By the way, the sports update is for Landmark Cinemas, and Wednesdays are made for movie twosomes. You don't need to be Jack and Rose, Han and Chewie, or any one of those famous movie twosomes to enjoy this deal. 2 admissions, 2 medium fountain drinks, a large popcorn, and your choice of candy for one great low price. But what you will need is somebody to go with you because this deal is worth sharing. Landmark Cinemas movie twosome every Wednesday. Check your favorite Landmark Cinemas for showtimes. LandmarkCinemas.com. And brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. You're turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. From Monty, go Blades, go! Wayne in BC says, is Milt serious about playing football again? I'm assuming it's just a stunt. You're not on Twitter, are you, Wayne? Milt's been hounding teams every year. Every year. And the Bombers finally relented. Paul in Humboldt says, the RP show needs some OT today. Yeah, I think we covered it all. As Jerry Seinfeld says, leave him wanting more. Randy in Winnipeg says, it's dumb to pick your opponent. Yeah, but there's an element of danger in there. Certainly not run-of-the-mill. Glenn in Medicine Hat says, pretty good for an old guy. They heckled me after throwing 2 under par at them on Sunday. I said, not only am I old, I'm fat too. Don't let them get you down. That? Thank you, Glenn. Thank you. We'll see you all tomorrow, and we'll talk about it all at noon Eastern right here.
Who has more fun than us?